Hi, I'm Artie Nemko. Sometimes it's not what you say or even who you know, but how you say it. Well, here are 11 keys to saying it well, whether it's a 1-minute report at a staff meeting or a keynote to a cast of thousands. 1. Put yourself in your listener or listener's shoes. What do they need to hear? What do they want to hear? Should it be fact-centric or feeling-centric? Formal or informal? Now let's turn to length. Keep most utterances, I'm not talking about in a keynote speech, but keep most utterances in a conversation to under 30 seconds, certainly under a minute. That ensures that your conversation partners have a fair chance to participate and that they don't forget what they wanted to say nor think you're egotistical. If you are giving a talk, generally keep it to around 20 minutes unless you're compelling. If you're in most cases, many people, not everybody, but many people's attention is going to fade after 20 minutes. You can add time for Q&A if they give you the time. Anyway, usually I have the Q&A right before my final story. I want to end with something more powerful than the answer to someone's question. Here's a tip, by the way. When you're talking, at least many people do lose track of time when they're talking. So to keep your utterances to a minute or less, practice by talking while looking into a timer or a watch with a second hand. You may be surprised to see how quickly a minute goes by. Now let's turn to focus. Stay conscious of whether most people in your audience will appreciate that detail or that tangent. Usually it's wise to minimize detail and tangent. People tend to listen with one ear or get distracted, and so by keeping to a structure, people will more likely stay with you. A day, let alone a week after a talk, most people remember little from it. Think back to a talk you attended a week or more ago. How much do you remember? So keep it simple, keep it structured. Enough said. Now let's turn to speed. Because many people don't listen intently to your entire talk, in addition to using an easy-to-follow structure such as, I want to make 3 points today, speak more slowly than in conversation. I'm doing that now, just a little more slowly. That also gives people time to process, to apply what you're saying to their situation. A relatively slow pace also conveys confidence. Excessive speed can imply that you're insecure or that you're a huckster. Of course, like a musician, you'll want to vary your pace. When it feels right, speed up for a few words, or more often, slow down for emphasis. The effect of that can be dramatic. Appeal to both head and heart, fact and emotion. Compelling, not obvious statistics and facts appeal to the head. Emotional anecdotes and addressing core values appeals to the heart. For example, political pollsters find that it's wise to invoke emotion-triggering concepts such as decency, equality, and progress, and to paint the other side as elitist, radical, and of ill-begotten wealth. Posture. There was a reason that rich people used to send their teens to deportment school. Shallow though it is, you gain credibility by standing erect, but relaxed, with shoulders back and chin straight out or looking slightly up. I first noticed the power of the chin when I noticed that when making a controversial point, President Obama raised his chin slightly. That made him seem more confident and powerful. Since then, I've noticed that when the news or entertainment media or advertisers want to make a character look good, those characters are often portrayed with their chin raised. Check it out. But don't raise your chin too much. It can make you look conceited. Eye contact. Rule of thumb. Look your conversation partner in the eye roughly 2/3 of the time. More can make you look psychotic. Less can make the person feel you don't care about him or her. When speaking to a group, make eye contact for 1 second with the person on your far left, then to the next person, and when you reach the person on your far right, reverse direction. On a video conference, focus your eyes just above the lens, I'm doing it now, and that gets your slightly raised chin. Timbre. Most, men and women both in general, should be speaking near the bottom of their natural range. That's another easy, albeit shallow way to gain credibility, but don't go beneath the bottom of your natural range. You're going to sound artificial and perhaps gravelly if I'm trying to talk very deeply. Smile. In perhaps the ultimate example of a shallow way to improve people's reaction, start with a smile. And when it feels appropriate, smile again. Interrupting. The standard advice, don't interrupt, is too black and white. Yes, err toward that, but if a person is long-winded or you have something important to say that would obviate what's likely to be a long dissertation, it's okay to interrupt. With some people, and in some cultures, interrupting is more acceptable. Read your audience, case by case, decide whether it is worth interrupting. You're often wise to not just let the person finish, but to count 1 Mississippi to yourself before responding. I actually told the client recently, who was an Indian, I said, count 1 gulab jamun. It's a wonderful dessert, Indian dessert. She laughed. Anyway, counting 1 Mississippi or 1 gulab jamun or whatever, 1 knish, that's probably a little too short. Anyway, that conveys that you're taking the other person's statement seriously and not just waiting for them to shut up so you can share your pearls. That 1-second pause also gives you a moment to think before speaking, something that most of us could use. If you think you might be interrupting too often, you might Google this and find this article of mine. It's called Why Interrupting is More Harmful Than You Think. And finally, speaking for elevation. Normally you want to be conversational in tone and language, but occasionally, when trying to inspire, it's appropriate to use loftier language and even invoke the wisdom of others. For example, if I were giving a talk to educators, I could do worse than to invoke Martin Luther King, who said, "The function of education is to teach one to think intensively and to think critically. Intelligence plus character, that is the goal of true education." The takeaway? We begin speaking before we were 1. So much of how we speak is ossified. To break out of fossilized bad practices requires, well, practice. Pick 1 or 2 of the aforementioned tips and practice, whether with a timer, a camcorder, or a friend. Working on your communication skills may be among the most potent ways to improve not just your career, but your personal life. In any event, I do thank you for watching. I'm Marty Nemko. I welcome your thumbs up and accept your thumbs down. I always look forward to your comments and especially like it if you hit the share button below, share on your social media so that my efforts can have broader impact. And I am flattered if you choose to subscribe to my channel. And in any event, I do thank you for watching. I am Marty Nemko.